ask you a question. Have you ever spent a lot of time thinking about your own story or listening to that mind chatter? Does that mind chatter ever take you off course or bring you closer in? What does that do for you? Well, that's all part of the story. And today we are diving into the story, how to unwind the story and how to apply the story so that it becomes a gift rather than possibly a challenge. Welcome to Expanding Consciousness. I am Kira.
I am Hank.
And we are honored that you are here, continuing in our extraordinary series.
Kira, that was so well said.
Thank you.
And for all of you, and for all of us, the beauty in the series is that these awarenesses touch on the spiritual and the humanistic lives that we are living.
You know, I love that you're reminding everyone of that because indeed, isn't that the gift and the foundation? You know, it is the foundation, and it's also, for Hank and I, we're so honored. It's the foundation of our upcoming multi-day retreat right here at 12 Hummingbirds. And we have to talk about this first thing because it's happening right at our beautiful home in Ecuador, a 25-acre spiritual paradise. And this paradise is Inca, pre-Incan, and Cañari cultures coming together in a sacred and dedicated temple experience. So these sacred sites are still on the land. We are honored to welcome you. And remember, make a note right now, July 31, join us for the opening, Creating the Pathway Forward.
Although if we did it right here, Kira, we would be doing it in Denver.
That's true.
At our home here in Denver.
That's true.
Just as
That's
a reminder,
true.
if the setting looks a little different for all of you,
That's true.
it's a
Thanks
little
for
less
that.
green here,
Just a tad.
but nonetheless beautiful.
That's true.
So our upcoming retreat, July 31st through August 7th of 2026, is entitled The Opening, Creating the Pathway Forward.
Yes.
Our work, the series, and programs focus on understanding what self-ascension truly means, what the foundations are, and clear steps to achieve self-ascension. Kira and I offer this pathway forward in Series 1, The I, with the intention of sharing insights as it is through the following unpretentious formula that one can achieve this enlightening state of conscious awareness: presence, awareness, intention, transformation. The first begins with being present. Presence leads to awareness. Awareness can guide us to intention. Your intention opens the gateway, illuminating one's ability to choose to transform or transcend, or actually and transcend.
True.
The story that is not the I, the releasing of non-truths that one embodies and carries with them much of their lives, impacting pretty much everything. Who one is in the moment, how one expresses, how one feels, how one is received.
Ooh, I'm just really breathing that in. Thank you, Hank. You know, I'm really wanting to jump in here because let's really dive into what we're looking at here, the releasing of the non-truths. Now, how many times are we ruled by those non-truths or these life scripts, these stories that keep coming in around us, and the story that is not the I? You know, this is that depth of mastery presence. This is that moment of remembering there are four knowns as well. And I invite you to remember that. And if you forget what the four knowns are, go to the website, iamkira.net, and search the four knowns. Because what is the first known? I am not this body, right? What is the second known? The mind is my servant. So let's just think about those two right now. Let's just really look at those two right now, because as we move through this gift of the story and releasing the story, we all have stories, don't we, Hank? I mean, we all have to move through this moment.
So true.
Yeah.
So true. And that's really, the depth of this understanding. Because through this work and in my personal spiritual practice, I've gained profound insights, realized deep core healings. I've come to recognize and overcome beliefs about myself that I held firmly onto at a very early age. Beliefs of inadequacy, not being good enough, not smart enough, not belonging. Deep-rooted feelings that I took on at the cellular level.
Sound familiar?
Eventually, actually, at a mere 55 years later, I came to realize them for what they were, non-truths. non-truths that were installed, impregnated, if you will, when I was very young, 5, sitting in the front seat of our station wagon, heading home after a day of fishing with my father. It began when my father said to me, "What's wrong with you? You haven't said anything in 20 minutes, and I bet if I went another 20 minutes, you wouldn't say anything." What's wrong with you? Wow.
Yeah.
What was wrong with me? What is wrong with me? Wow. I was an innocent child, and yet was I? Am I? I came to realize and understand that I, as well as you, are not alone. We belong.
Yes.
My value is that I exist in this moment, at this time. I do not have to justify or prove anything or defend myself to anyone. I am. Consider your value is that you exist here on this planet. Consider that you do not have to prove anything or justify yourself to anyone. You are. I am a working being. I continually evolve. I am. In being, in light. In giving and receiving, we connect. As elevated conscious humans, that is what we do. We experience. We forgive. We heal. We care. We share. We love. My intention as I journey is connection. Connecting to self, connecting to you, connecting to another, diving deeper into forgiveness, deeper into love, soaring higher, being, embracing, experiencing, supporting. At its core, connection centers around love, and it's about bringing more levity, curiosity, and love into my life. For the more I love myself, the greater my capacity to love you, the greater my capacity to love all.
I love that. I love the experience of inviting ourselves to expand our capacities, to move forward and to do this. You know, one of the things about the story that is so extraordinarily important is to remember that the story is co-created when we come into this field, when we come through that sacred sequence of incarnation and arrive here right now. To remember that we chose this experience. And that's really important. If you go back, and I want you to go back and really listen again if you didn't quite catch all that, because you'll notice that Hank's been using the word choose a lot and talking about how we move through this. And this is the gift. It's that moment where we recognize that you are not a victim. And in the recognition that you are not a victim, in the release of victim consciousness, we let go of the victim. Thereby we let go of the abuser. Thereby we let go of the rescuer. And often we're playing all of that ourselves, are we not? We're moving through those life scripts. And I think you heard some of those earlier. I don't belong. I don't deserve. Two very, very powerful life scripts that exist among many that are then kind of wound up by a group think, right? What's the group think? Well, the group think is often where we modify our stories because we want to belong, we want to deserve, we want to feel love, we want to feel acceptance. Well, when we move through the model of self-acceptance, remember that the spiral of self-acceptance, which is part of the self-ascension model, is what? Number one is unconditional love. It is that unconditional love that begins with the self, because until we can unconditionally love ourselves, we cannot possibly love another. And Hank was talking about this just a moment ago, and I think this is so important, and I really want to reiterate this. The more I love myself, the greater my capacity to love you, the greater my capacity to love all. When we remember that it's right here and that it is not selfish to love thyself. If anything, it's a gift. You know, often people will say, oh gosh, I don't have time, I don't have this, or, you don't know my story. Well, you're right. Hank and I don't know your personal story. And something we do know and have a couple of years behind us of experience around that is that at the end of the day, it is all about connection. Connecting with yourself, connecting with others, connecting with the gift of forgiveness. And this is what Hank has been sharing as well, is that when we move forward, when we dive into the gift of forgiveness, and I want to remind you, dive into the gift of forgiveness. Go to the website, IamKira.net, scroll that homepage and grab the free forgiveness practice. It's going to take you 7 days and it will free you. It will free you to look at that story as just that, the story, the illusion, the four knowns. I am not this body. This body is a gift. This body is the precious moment that you are blessed to be able to experience all of this. To free yourself from the story and the victim consciousness is not hard, and it does demand some conscious attention. Please do yourself the gift of going to IamKira.net, read the articles, give yourself the gift of the freedom of forgiveness. Forgiveness will call forward the relaxation of the story so that you can see beyond the story and realize what? That the story was the gift that you were given to become the you that is here right now. You found this podcast, you found Hank and I because you're ready. And in that readiness, we invite you to go as far as you want to go, knowing you have the capacity.
So beautifully said, Kira.
Thank you, Hank.
In my experience, forgiveness of another is so much easier and a great way to start, and then stepping into forgiveness of self, which is a little more difficult, a little more challenging, a lot more opening, but when you arrive, it's such a beautiful gift, forgiveness. Yeah. And these stories that we have, these feelings of inadequacy, not being good enough, not smart enough, not thin enough, not pretty enough, not enough.
List.
You know, in my experience, having sat with and connected to well over 1,000 people, 98% of them felt inadequate at one time or another. Many of them still did. And wow, I was like blown away because I thought I was alone in those feelings in my life, through most of my life at that point. And it just is just not true. So if you have been following this podcast in this series, as we talked about forgiveness and thought and patience and presence and all the beautiful gifts that we've been sharing, I hope that you are receiving them because they can make a difference. They can help release these thoughts that one may carry of inadequacy and not being good enough, because truly you are beautiful.
Yes. And it's your story. You know, that's the gift. At the end of the day, it's your story to command. This story hasn't been written for you. You're the author. So imagine the gift. You're the author. What do you want your life to look like? You actually have that power. You have that capacity. And that's part of why Hank and I are so honored and excited. And it's filling so quickly, Hank. I'm so excited to meet the people that are coming because we've put all this together and synthesized this together in an on-site journey to really help you rapidly step into this gift and expand your life exponentially.
We invite you to join us at our home at 12 Hummingbirds, situated on 25 acres of sacred Inca property in the Andes Mountains, to share in a profound journey together and experience in our upcoming retreat, The Opening, Creating the Pathway Forward. Again, the dates, July 31st through August 7th.
You know, Hank, I want to jump in really quickly on that because we are so excited. Those last 3 days are actually, I'm going to put in quotes, an extension, because our dear friends in the Amazon, the Shuar people, and I'm so, Hank and I both are so honored to live among and to be so deeply accepted, have welcomed us into their sacred lands. This is not a tourist thing. This is the real, we're going into the Amazon, into this beautiful tribal area where we are going to a sacred waterfall to culminate, because they also recognize the importance of this moment in history. We are all collectively at a very challenging moment, and this is why releasing the story, finding your truth, living in the state of your divine presence matters. That's why the opening is creating your pathway forward.
Oh, beautiful. You know, in this journey of self-reflection, we will share together in an insightful experience focused on the I. Dive deep into those aspects of oneself that are restrictive. Release the feelings of inadequacy that many feel and the non-truths that holds one back from truly experiencing the true I, that beautiful being one is.
Yes.
It is through the gift and awakening that one has the opportunity to realize self-ascension.
Oh, I want to underscore that. Really hear what Hank just said. It is through the gift in awakening. That's a gift we give ourselves, is it not? That you have that opportunity to actually realize self-ascension, and we are the living model of that.
Remember, it is not that we as humans haven't learned from past experiences. I believe is that we've truly forgotten what it is to be human, forgotten what humanity is all about. Through conscious practices, we can help make a difference.
And remember, because at the end of the day, you are ready to remember yourself. And when you do, everything opens and the world gets a lot easier to navigate and things make sense.
Follow your heart. Be aware of where it leads and express.
Namaste.